Don't be afraid to fail.
What's the best advice you ever got from a mentor in terms of money or how you were able to make that money work for you?
Don't deal drugs.
Don't deal drugs? Two quick last ones for you real quick, sir. Is that cool? Is that okay?
Yeah, what?
Is that fine? So what kind of restaurants do you own?
I own this restaurant right there, Bari.
Yeah.
It's right across the street. It's Italian.
Across all your businesses, what's the biggest you ever had in business? What's the most you made in a year in terms of revenue?
Oh, 12 million.
$12 million? Okay, last one for you right here.
Yes.
How did you scale from 7 to 8 figures? It's hard to scale businesses. What'd you do to go from 7 to 8 figures?
Just have a good product.
Have a good product? How did you find a winning product though?
That's enough.
All right, you guys, so they got the moguls out in Houston, Texas, but it's very hard to get a couple minutes of these people's times. These are very high net worth individuals, but all you can do is kind of keep prying and keep going until you find one of those yeses. And we're gonna drop some great game in one of these interviews. We just gotta go find it and keep it rolling, man. Come on. Is this your G-Wagon?
Yeah.
What do you do for a living out in Houston, Texas to be able to afford a G-Wagon?
Sorry?
What do you do for a living out in Houston, Texas?
Work hard.
What industry are you in?
Football.
What are you doing exactly?
Own a football team.
What team?
Houston Texans.
You own the Houston Texans.
H-Town, baby.
And how long have you been a business owner for?
We've had the Texans for 20 plus years.
Over the 20 plus years you've been a business owner, what's the greatest lesson that you've learned about entrepreneurship?
Never quit.
How did you break into the National Football League, man? It's very competitive to try to get into that business. How did you break in and ultimately work your way up to be able to own a team? What did it take?
Oh, well, we were very successful in another business.
What business?
And then sold it, the power industry, sold it. And then my dad actually bought the Texans as a franchise expansion. Back in 02 was our first year.
What was the best advice that you ever got from a mentor?
Conserve your cash.
Now, did you have to borrow money to start and grow businesses or
There was leverage involved. And then opportunities happen, you hopefully have some cash, you can take advantage of them.
How old are you now?
I am 63, but don't tell anyone.
Are you a billionaire?
I haven't added it up.
You're probably a billionaire though. And any negotiation advice? Somebody, they struggle to close deals in business. You've negotiated some massive deals. What's the secret to negotiating?
You want to do it, but not that bad.
What do you mean by that? You got to be able to walk away or
You
what?
gotta be able to walk away. At the same time, you're going to be able to want to do it.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. I
Good luck,
appreciate
guys.
you. Thank you. Hard Knocks family, we just interviewed the owner of the Houston Texans. That guy is more than likely a billionaire, and we just caught him getting out of the G-Wagon, going to his appointment at the Rolex store. But what did he say was the best advice he'd give to any business owner in today's world? Never, ever quit. Right when people are on the brink of achieving their greatest dreams and the greatest goals that they have, they give up right before it all happens. Never give up on your dreams, guys. And you can interview people like the owner of the Houston Texans. Crazy interview out here in Houston to start the day. Let's go get this next one, fellas. Come on. Excuse me, sir. Question for you. Have you ever been broke?
Give me 5 minutes.
I got you.
And then we'll.
Appreciate you, my friend.
Because I'm working and it's a client.
Oh, you good, man. How you doing?
And I'm not a millionaire.
Oh, okay, cool.
But so I work at the jewelry store, and you pass by, and somebody actually recognized you. You were like, oh, that's influencer.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of fun. Sadly, I'm not a millionaire yet, but I'm working at it.
Nice.
So you never know.
Absolutely.
Have you found a bunch of millionaires in the district?
Man, I don't know Houston too well. I'm from Austin.
There's a lot of money here. I mean, you'll come across a bunch. I don't know, and then maybe that'll help you get something that goes viral, and then you'll be the millionaire if you're not already.
Yes, sir. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Cool.
Yes, sir. What's
All
your
right.
name, sir?
Mako.
Mako?
Yes.
James. Great to
James,
meet you, sir.
nice to meet you.
Hard Knocks family. My guy just pulled up with a Ferrari out here in Houston, Texas. He's right outside of the Rolex store. We're going to go up and see what he was able to do to be able to afford a Ferrari out here in Houston. Let's go see what he has to say. Excuse me, sir. Yeah. Is this your Ferrari?
Yeah, it is.
What do you do for a living out in Houston, Texas to be able to afford a Ferrari?
I'm an entrepreneur.
And how long have you been a business owner for?
21 years.
And what type of business do you run?
I own a labor force management company.
You can only do so much as one person.
That's right.
How important was it for you learning how to master delegation, bringing other people and building teams? How important is delegation?
Let's put it this way. How important is it? My company will do $300 million this year in revenue, right? If I were still doing it all myself, we might do three, right? One guy can only, or gal, can only do so much. I don't care how talented you are, I don't care how hard you work. You can only do so much. And you got to be honest with yourself. You have weaknesses, right? That's the truth. You have strengths, and that's great. You've got to build a team around you that are going to cover all those weaknesses that you've got, help you accentuate and exaggerate your strengths that you have. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a team that's executing with you and on your behalf, number one, you're going to work for the rest of your life. So I wouldn't call you an entrepreneur. I would say you're self-employed. You're not building a company that's going to grow and scale and live beyond you. You're not building anything lasting. All you did was create a job for yourself. And by the way, that's great. I know some people that do a very, very good job and they have a very nice living doing just that. But if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're really going to build a business, which I think is create something that lives beyond any one person, you got to know how to motivate and inspire a team around you.
In other words, you got to stop being an employee entrepreneur. A lot of people, they work in the business.
Yeah. No, you need to be working on the business.
As a multiple 9-figure entrepreneur. What's been the best financial advice that you've ever received throughout your career?
Don't be fooled by all the Ferraris and the Paddocks and all that BS. Don't be fooled by that. Know something. Every dollar that a company spends must have an ROI attached to it. If you're doing that, then you can take and spoil yourself a little bit of that money. But as far as the business runs financially, no dollar should ever be spent inside of a business that does not, you cannot directly calculate the ROI to that business.
And have you ever been broke before?
I think every entrepreneur has been broke before, 100%. By the way, there was a point in time, I'll never forget this. I'd actually made about $3 million that year. I think I was 28 years old. Every dollar that I made had to stay in the company, but yet I had to pay income taxes on that money. So I owed like $950,000 in income taxes on that money, and I had like $10,000 in the bank in my personal account. So yeah, I was definitely broke growing up for sure, and I'm proud of that because I think had I not gone through that path and growing up that way, I don't think I would have understood people the way I do. I don't think I would have had the grit, desire, and perseverance that I have today. So that's easy to talk about. What people don't really understand is that you can make a lot of money as an entrepreneur on paper and be broke financially, personally, because every dollar that you're making, if you're doing the right thing, has got to stay in that company to be able to grow it. It takes money to make money, like I said.
How did you get the money to start your business? Like, did you have a lot of money when you started?
No, we had no money. So you have to beg, borrow, and steal when you're starting it out, right? Especially when you have no money. So, I mean, you're literally winging it, robbing from Paul to pay Peter, trying to grow it, trying to find just enough money to cover your expenses to get through each month and then build up those retained earnings. So, I mean, we had to take out high interest loans. I call it loan shark money back then, but it was like you're factoring your invoices. It's like 21% interest rate. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But I'm actually really glad I did it that way. I started out that way and I had to pay those absurd interest rates because it forced me to have the discipline to not take the money out of the business. So every week that the company made profit, I'd leave that profit in. That means next week, that's a little bit less I had to borrow, and a little bit less, and a little bit less. And then you look up, 18 months, 2 years later, now you're borrowing very, very little on what I call the loan shark money, right? But the best part is you've built up your retained earnings, you've built up your balance sheet. Now you can go to a bank, get a traditional line of credit at 6 or 8%, whatever's going on. And now you go from 21% interest on your capital needs to 6 or 8. You've probably got an extra $20,000, $25,000 a month right back to your bottom line.
Yeah, that's amazing. They don't teach that in school, right?
No, they don't teach any of this in school. That's the problem. That is the big problem. I think it's one of the biggest problems in this country is that we're not teaching the things that are really going to change people's lives and empower them to, listen, everybody's got goals and aspirations. Everybody does.
Yeah.
Very, very few people have the discipline and perseverance it takes to achieve them. But when you get past even those things, listen, I had learned these things the hard way. I wish this would have been taught in school, basic business finance, right? Had this been taught, I probably would have been a millionaire, probably closer to 24, 25 years old. Listen, I got there at 28. I'm happy about that. But I think, I think it could have happened. Well, I know it would have happened much sooner had I understood those principles of business.
Right. Last one for you.
Yeah.
45 today.
Yeah.
For a young 20-year-old kid watching this right now, they want to own a Ferrari in today's world. This is a lot of people's dream car you're sitting in right now.
Sure.
How can somebody own a Ferrari in 2024?
Two simple things. Number one, find something you're truly passionate about. Everything else after that is secondary. You've got to be passionate about it. That's number one. Number two, you just don't ever quit. I tell people all the time, I wasn't always the smartest person in the room. I was just the SOB that refused to quit.
I love it. Thank you so much for your
My
time.
pleasure,
I
man.
appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely.
Have a great
Likewise.
day. Hard Knocks family, we're on the way to go get our next interview right now, but I've got a very special announcement to make. Last week, we just launched our official entrepreneur community, otherwise known as the School of Mentors. Inside of this community, I'm hosting a live call every single week with the multimillionaires and billionaires that you see us interview every week on the channel. You'll be able to ask them questions about your career, your life, and your business. You're also going to get access to exclusive masterclasses I've been filming with the most successful business owners in the entire world. You do not want to miss out on any of this. So click the link down in the description of this video to join the School of Mentors today. We'll see you on the inside, but with that being said, let's go get this next interview. Excuse me, sir. Question for you. Is this your G-Wagon?
Yes, it is.
And what do you do for a living out here in Houston, Texas to be able to afford a G-Wagon?
I'm a doctor.
How long have you been a doctor for?
30 years.
What type of medicine do you practice in?
I'm a lung specialist and ICU specialist.
Do you own your own practice? Or
Yes, I do.
Over these 30 years, especially as a business owner, what's been the most amount of money that you've ever made in a single year?
Well, the business is different than the medicine. So medicine is probably $600,000-700,000.
How about for the business?
The business is a big business, so that's $6 million a year.
$6 million. Yeah. Was it all worth it going through all that school?
Absolutely.
Why
Always
is
worth
that?
it. I always tell my kids if I go back, I wouldn't change a thing.
What did you have to sacrifice on the way, though?
Time and time with my wife. So
Yeah.
and the kids.
Yeah.
But
What's
it's worth it. The kids are good.
How old are you today?
I'm 54 years of age.
For people that are pursuing medicine, what's the most common mistake that you see new doctors make?
I think the doctor's biggest mistake, they don't learn the business of medicine. I don't mean it as a money, but meaning when you are taking care of patients, you want to do it the most efficient way. And if you're in private practice, you want to do it so you could stay afloat. Because if you don't do the right job, money is not important to doctors, but money is what sinks a lot of practices. So you're going to have to balance that out. You're never after the money, but you also, if you have a practice, private practice, you need to be in and you need to have that niche and to stay afloat. Because unfortunately, you guys don't know this as young generation, medicine pays less and less for doctors, which we accommodate that, but then you have to stay afloat. I have like 300 employees that I have to pay them payroll at the end of them every month. So yes, doctors think I could be employed and that's the end of it. But if you go into private practice, you really have to work harder and have that business mind. So my one advice is learn business early on, not because you're after money or you want more money or how to squeeze the system. No, to the contrary, how to give good service to your patients, but stay afloat and not worry about that. Because why doctors in general get paid higher than average is because you don't want your doctor to be worried about money. You want to worry about you and how to get you better. So there's a balance right there. You don't want to make so much money and people think they're doing something not right or too little money that they worry about making money to survive.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. That's a wrap on today's video, you guys. Houston, Texas just went crazy. But I want you to like and subscribe for amazing content we've got.